Deer season is still a few months off, but for the folks at QDMA, that's the Quality Deer Management Association, it's a year-round job. Recently, the monitor's Ranger Nick spent the day at their corporate headquarters and walked away having learned what they do and how they can help you attract more deer to your property.
All right, so let's say you're a landowner, you're a hunter, you're interested in managing for quality deer, and the folks at QDMA are the folks you want to talk to. You're interested to know whether or not you've got enough good quality deer, or maybe you don't have enough. How can I get more out there? Oh dear, what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to reach out to somebody like Lindsay Thomas, Director of Communications for the Quality Deer Management Association right outside of Athens, Georgia, national headquarters. Lindsay, tell me something. Let's say I'm a hunter. I'm interested to know about the habitat quality where I'm at. What are some things that an agency like yours could do to help me determine how great my land is or is not for deer?
Well, Nick, we can help you understand wherever it is that you hunt, the requirements that those deer have in that region or that state or in that habitat from a food, water, and cover standpoint. And it's as simple as taking a walk on your property or hunting land, wherever you have hunting access, looking at the plants, the environment that's there, understanding what deer are the plants they prefer to eat during certain seasons, looking at the abundance of those plants and looking at the pressure on those plants, looking at what deer are eating and how much of it are they eating. Have they stripped everything from as high as they can reach to the ground? You probably have a deer abundance or a lack of deer food in that area at that time of year. So you want to try to get to a point where you've produced the plants deer want to eat in plenty of abundance and they're not eating everything they can find.
And maybe somebody that can help me with that might be a consulting forester that I have come out to my land, take a look at the age of the timber there, tell me that maybe the timber I've got is far too old. There are some things that maybe I should do to disturb that land, to get some of that lush, yummy green stuff to come back that those white-tailed deer love to eat. What are some things that we could do to disturb the land to create some of that great food for those deer to eat?
Nick, anything that puts more sunlight on the ground. You know, as you and I have talked about, deer live in a zone that's from your neck to the ground. And if there's no food for them to eat in that zone, you need to put some sunlight on the ground to grow it. Yeah. And that might be a timber thinning. Coming in, having a commercial a logger harvest some of those trees commercially, you make a little money, put some sunlight on the ground, now you're producing more forage. It might be a clear cut. It might be simply letting a farm field or a small corner or edge of a farm field go fallow and produce from the natural seed bank the forbs and grasses that grow there to produce cover and forage for deer. So putting sunlight on the ground and then using techniques like fire or additional timber harvest to keep that succession from advancing, to keep those areas, or at least some areas on your property in early successional stages where they're producing a lot of that deer cover and forage.
That's interesting. We're going to talk next about ways that I can monitor potential deer movement on the property to determine if I need to do those kinds of things. So a little detective work out here. Lindsay talked about from the neck down, looking at browse and what deer want to eat. Lindsay, we're looking at some wild honeysuckle here, ice cream for the deer out there. I find that the wild honeysuckle is right here, but below my neck it disappears. What would you say about that?
I'd say that's a pretty good sign that at some point in the year, maybe all year long, you don't have enough adequate forage out here for the density of deer you've got on the land. They're clearly stripping this honeysuckle from as high as they can reach to the ground. You got plenty of honeysuckle up here, but you don't have any down here.
Interesting. So one thing I can do is look at the browse intensity that the deer are taking. Let's talk about some other things I can do on my property. So another thing that you can do, and this is very, very high tech, is simply put a cage out on your property, some simple fencing wire, put a stake in it, about 10 feet of wire in a circle. Lindsay told us to put this into some clover, something that the deer love to feed on, and basically take that food away from them. Take that clover away from them, and Lindsay, what am I going to do once I put this in? What am I looking for in terms of a comparison from inside and outside?
You're looking to see how much pressure is on the food plot out here that you've planted versus inside the cage where it's been protected. And that gives you some idea of your density of deer and the amount of food out there, the relationship between the two. If this outside the cage is gnawed to the dirt and inside it's lush and green, you've got a problem. You don't have enough food for the deer in that season, so you really need to adjust that.
It's just detective work, and the way to determine for sure if there's stuff going on out there and if the deer are in fact eating it or what is eating it is to get yourself a wildlife camera. Maybe it's the neighborhood kid out there and all want some of that grass, but get that camera out there to determine really what's going on. Another piece of evidence to inform a great decision in terms of white-tailed deer management. Well, I tell you, I have become so fond of all the great work that the folks at QDMA have done, and I can't thank Lindsay enough for spending some time with me talking about how to increase more deer and how to thin out some of those deer in a very ethical way. It's been a great time. If you want more information about becoming a member of QDMA, go online, check out QDMA.com, and you can learn all about the things that they're doing. While you're online, of course, slide on over to the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page and like that. And while you're there, like I always say, check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page, and we can become friends and keep in touch that way. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you right back here again next month. See ya.